Always so much happening in the 90-day world, folks. But let's talk about Patrick and Thais. Here's a cheeky little update regarding their divorce. Patrick's motion accusing Thais of affair stricken by judge. A Nevada district judge has stricken the motion filed by 90-day fiance Patrick Mendes alleging his wife, Thais Mendes, had an affair prior to the separation in May. Her sarcasm was the first to report Patrick filed a motion last week in his divorce case, in which he stated Thais had an affair that he learned about in April. He also claimed that in the motion that Thais grabbed a knife and threatened him with it, all while holding their daughter Elise. Below are the names for Patrick's filing from our previous post. The filing awkwardly referred to Patrick and Dad and Thais as Mum throughout. On or about April 11th, 2026, Dad learned that Mum was involved in an affair, reads a motion filed by Patrick's attorney on Wednesday. The filing also reveals details about what happened between Patrick and Thais after he became aware of the infidelity. After Patrick discovered the affair, Thais demanding that Patrick move out of the party's home. Has she told her new romantic partner that the parties were already separated and no longer residing together? Apparently, Patrick was reluctant to relocate. Thais therefore made the threats to Patrick, leading Patrick to officially move out of the marital residence on or about May 6, 2026. A little more than 2 weeks later, Patrick and Thais got into an altercation that resulted in their arrest for domestic battery. On May 22nd, 2026, the parties got into an argument that led to Thais getting violent with Patrick. The motion states, during the incident, Thais grabbed a knife and threatened Patrick with it, and while holding their child, or the child. After the news, the allegations in the filing broke. TMZ spoke with Thais' attorney, Carmen. She said that the affair was inaccurate. The affair claim was inaccurate, adding that Patrick's attorney acknowledged the inaccuracy and admitted the allegations were included in error. Interesting. So there was never an affair, or maybe there was one, but there just wasn't one when they were together. Either way, though, it is now saying that it was inaccurate. Okay, now Carmen told TMZ she and Patrick's legal team have agreed to strike the motion. Judge strikes Patrick Mendes' motion with a fair claim. Sarcasm can confirm that Thais and Patrick's attorney were in agreement about striking Patrick's motion, and the judge did just that on Wednesday. Patrick's lawyers filed a stipulation and order to strike their previous motion that included the following explanation. But the thing is, though, how do you make such an error of accusing somebody of an affair? That is wild. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget, though, the affair has been striked. But the altercation regarding Thais holding a knife while Patrick holding their daughter, that was never striked. At least that's not what I've read from here anyway so far. So either way, folks, for me personally, her having the knife while he's holding their daughter Lisi is way much more serious than her having a bloody affair. Give me your thoughts, please. Give me your thoughts. Patrick's lawyers filed a stipulation in order to strike the previous motion that included the following explanation. It is hereby stipulated that the plaintiff's motion for joint legal and joint physical custody of the child for a set custodial timeshare for child support, for attorney fees and costs, and for other related relief, filed on August 19th, 2026, shall be withdrawn and stricken from the court record due to the disputed allegations contained therein that have since been resolved between the parties. A paralegal from the law firm representing Patrick sent the proposed stipulation and order to Thais' lawyer. On August 21st, Carmen replied 3 days later with her approval. The judge in the case approved the stipulations on Thursday. On Wednesday, Patrick and Thais' mutual agreement to participate in family meditation center services in hopes of reaching an agreement. They are due back in court on October 27th. So, of course, we'll be here to update you folks on exactly what is happening with those two. But hey, that is where we are right now when it comes to Patrick and Thais. Give me your thoughts on the matter itself in particular. And like I said before, folks, let's not forget the very key point here, unless I've missed something here, that although the affair has now been removed, the strike is boom, 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 What has not been removed, what has not changed, is the altercation itself in particular regarding knife and child, which is absolutely effed up. And to make it worse, since this information come out, Cara and Thais then took to social media to actually make a mockery of this situation regarding the child. Cara even came out to say such ridiculous things. In fact, let me find a few folks real quick. As you can see here, provided to us by 90 Day Fiancé update, this is obviously what's happened here. Cara came in and put angelic. She looks angelic, knife or no knife. What? Thais is like, I love you. What? You're making a joke out of something like this? How would Cara feel if she was holding her child and G was to hold a knife towards her? Says a lot about people's character, doesn't it, folks? Says a lot about people's characters. Legit. You know, and of course, there's other people coming in and obviously having their thoughts on the matter itself in particular. But at the end of the day, folks, the main thing here that needs to be understood is that we got two women who think it's funny to joke about allegations. Listen, if somebody came forward and said, hey, by the way, in a notification, she held a knife to me and also had my child in my hand, I'd be trying to defend myself. I'd be trying to clear my name if, of course, I'm actually innocent. But coming out and then having a little bit of banter about it is nasty work. But either way, though, why the hell Cara got involved? Cara wonders why people just don't like her. Either way, folks, it really shows a lot about both women's characters. But with that being said, though, let me know your thoughts. Who is moving mad? I gotta know. Now let's talk about Paula. Paula came out on Instagram to answer a series of different questions. Let's listen to what she had to say. And also, I'm going to say these to you folks. This whole conversation regarding her being trans, she may have not actually been trolling. But we're going to get to why further down the video. Let's get into it.
Great questions. You guys asked me a lot. So when Thomas and I made plans to get married, we decided to not bring any money from Brazil to the USA because I'm investing my money here. I have a business. I'm growing my business to a second unit. I just bought another apartment in Brazil because I don't want Thomas putting his nose in everything. So never more anyone gonna say nothing about my furniture. So I'm gonna decorate in.
This makes me question, makes me wonder. So, Thomas and Paula, are they together or not together? But it is very, very strange that she's bought another property in Brazil that she can clearly decorate free-willingly without having to worry about Thomas's inputs and Thomas's restrictions. But here's the thing, though. If they are married and they are together, generally speaking, depending on the dynamic of your relationship, usually the finances that you both earn, they are both yours together. You know, usually that's how it works, right? In a healthy dynamic, right? And therefore, any money that you spend is going to affect your partner, vice versa. So I'm a bit, that's a bit of a strange one. So the question that I have for you folks is, do you think that maybe they have actually split up and she's actually now back in Brazil on a permanent basis? Or do you think they are still together, but she decided to buy herself a property in Brazil to have whenever she wants to have a peaceful getaway from Thomas, even though we know that they have issues with their spending dynamics? So wouldn't he still have it? The whole thing is a calamity, folks. Let me know your thoughts because this feels like a very moving man situation right now.
This apartment in the way that I want. Never gonna have a yoga mat inside that because I have trauma. And money in Brazil, even if I make a lot there, but if I transfer for the USA, it is very legal because the conversion of the currency, it's horrible. It's 6 for 1. You guys are rich here in Brazil. How did you met this?
Well, before we get into how they met anyway, so how did they meet? So the currency in Brazil, so the US dollar is quite powerful in Brazil. I wonder if that means the pound must be powerful in Brazil. Damn. I need to move to Brazil. Let me be rich. But anyway, folks, let's get into how they met.
Guy. Oh, this is amazing. This is an amazing story.
Before we get into this amazing story, obviously, as you see at the bottom, she puts down, I didn't tell him that I was trans. Now, remember, she's been asked twice already if she was trans. The first time she was asked, she pretty much said that she wasn't. The second time she was asked, she then said that she transitioned 11 years ago. In this post, she's now saying that I didn't tell him that I was trans. Now, here's the thing. I generally thought that she was trolling when it came to that, because she did speak about the idea of having babies. Then again, though, she didn't necessarily say that she was speaking about getting pregnant or something particular. I don't think she did anyway. Someone saying they want babies doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to conceive them themselves, because obviously there's so many options of having children today. But somebody remind me, did she say when she was speaking about babies did she mention the word pregnancy, or did she just say that she wanted babies? Because that one I'm a bit blurry on that information, folks. Okay, but either way though, it's getting interesting now, because now the fact that she's bringing it back up again, and bear in mind, no one even asked her in this specific topic about her being trans. This is where I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? And this is why I say, folks, maybe she actually is trans and she was never kidding, which is fine. But at the end of the day, if she's happy, then she's freaking happy. You know what I mean? And if Thomas is happy to be with her, then that's what that matters, right? Now, let's continue though.
I met Thomas 8 years ago, right before my niece Gigi was born, 1 week before.
So bear in mind, she said before that she transitioned 11 years ago, and now saying that it was 8 years ago she met Thomas. So I mean, she would have been 3 years into it, which means depending on what type of work she would have had at the time, what money she had, she would obviously would have been in the very early stages. But then again, I don't know too much about how quick you can transition in terms of like your hormones changing, your appearance changing, all that kind of jazz. And I guess sometimes that also matters depending on how good your dollar is. Because I think with Aaliyah, we've seen Aaliyah from like that Love in Paradise to then all the way to the main show, obviously with Sean. And obviously we've seen her transition slowly happen over time, you know what I mean? So everyone's could be very different depending on, of course, how they began, all that kind of jazz. But anyway, we'll get back to this. We'll get back to this, folks. Just want to point these things out for a later part of the video.
Before she born, I was in vacation in the USA and on California in a friend's house for a couple days. And I met someone in a social media, Tinder, not Tinder, Bumble, and this person told me, I asked this person, where there's something cool to do here in the USA, and this guy said, go to the beach volley classes on Hermosa Beach Pier. And I did it. I met Thomas, and the first day he came talk to me because he thought my voice was beautiful, my accent, and he came talk to me and we became friends. And then he came talk to me. He loved my voice. We became friends, and then we had a long distance relationship as a friends. Then I had a boyfriend right after that. I broke up with the boyfriend and he went to Brazil. He came to Brazil, and there's a long story, especially, oh my God, it was crazy when I told him the truth.
And there you go. There you go. Paula even says, and then I told him the truth and looked down there. So I guess this is actually truly confirmation that she is trans. But there's even more confirmation, to be fair, about Paula being trans. But the more and more I listen to Paula, the more and more I look at Paula talking, the more and more I really see her face doesn't move that much, does it? Damn, the amount of Botox, whatever's happening there. Hey, boy, girl, your face is static now. Anyway, let's continue.
I have something on my YouTube channel. Actually, it's subscribe on my YouTube channel because I'm going to start to make videos in English with subtitles in Portuguese. So go there because I made a video many years ago, so you kind of gonna understand. And tell me what is your opinions about it.
And as you can see here, she was asked a question of, are you happily relaxed now that you are home? And she goes, a lot. It's peace. But, hold on a minute. Obviously, the question, are you into women? I mean, to be honest with you, very unlikely in my opinion. I feel like this one's probably a troll. But either way, though, this is the reaction given by Paula in this one. And that is literally not a thing. But this is where I got even more confirmation that Paula truly is actually transgender. And bear in mind, when I made this video, it had nothing to do with it originally. But anyway, you see this picture here. Your brother from the show is your twin. She goes, yes, I am the oldest. And as you can see in the picture, there are 2 boys who are twins and 1 little girl. We know that Paula has a little sister and also has a brother. There's no other siblings that I'm aware of. So therefore, obviously, Paula is a twin that is now trans, which is quite interesting to be fair, because usually, depending on what type of twins you are, usually twins end up being the same person all the time. But again, it depends on what type of twin you are. But either way, though, Paula, obviously more than ever now, is pretty much in a position where I can say that seems to me 100% or at least 99% is trans. And I'm just happy that Paula has now come out to finally admit it. You know what I mean? Because obviously when Paula was initially asked the question, there was a lot of no, I'm not, denial. But then the second time, that's when she said, yeah, I transitioned 11 years ago. And then there's also the conversation on the show regarding having children, which again, I ask you again, folks, was that conversation having children, was that based on, did she say pregnancy or did she just say having children? Because how you word things is very key to what someone's really trying to tell you. Do you see what I'm saying? So of course there was that part too. And then obviously now she's now unintentionally, no, and now without being asked, bringing it up herself that yes, she transitioned 11 years ago, and also saying that I did tell Thomas about the situation here, blah, 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 blah. So, it is what it is. Either way, though, I gotta know, folks, what is your thoughts on the matter itself in particular? Come on now. Don't forget to like and subscribe.